The 22-23 season has been one of complete controversy for Manchester United. From the 7-0 loss at Anfield and the Cristiano Ronaldo interview, all the way to beating Barcelona at Old Trafford and also beating Manchester City in the derby. Throughout it, though, criticism has occurred of almost every player in some shape or form. David De Gea seems to be the most criticised or scrutinised player this season at Manchester United. Many people struggle to understand why, and many people can't understand how others can't see the detriment he's causing. Today we're going to look at why he's criticised and whether it's justified. I want to start off with a quote from Pazvir, who was or still is the Ajax goalkeeper, but he was under Erik Ten Hag. This is what he said about Ten Hag. It's insane how many hours he puts into it. He wants to control everything, and he sees everything. For him, the goalkeeper is essential in the start of build-up, even under the highest pressure. Now, when you hear that quote, one thing that should spring to mind is the fact that I think it's fairly general consensus that David De Gea is not good with the ball at his feet. Regardless of what you think about him, if you think he's the best keeper in the league or not, he's not the best with the ball at his feet. That's not what he does. That's not what he's known for. If you do like De Gea, I'm sure your argument is that he's a phenomenal shot stopper, and a goalkeeper should stop shots first and play out with a ball second. And I think Ten Hag's even said something along those lines before. I want my goalkeeper to save things first, which is an interesting take on it. The Newcastle game is a big one for, I'd say, exposing the problems when it comes to passing out from the back and playing out from the back at Manchester United. As you see on the screen now, this was one moment that has gone a little bit, not viral, but people are talking about it. Varane basically tells Dalot, drop in, give yourself, or make yourself an option for David De Gea to pass you the ball. You actually see De Gea either refuses or just doesn't want to pass that ball, and it actually makes Varane quite frustrated because he wants to play out from the back, he wants to retain possession, and De Gea is hitting this ball, which, Newcastle are a big team. It's not even really 50-50 in the air, it's more of a 60-40 to them. And I think this is one of the big problems United have had. Erik ten Hag wants to keep possession, that's what he does, that's the way he plays, always has been really. A big part of keeping possession is obviously playing out from the back, because you're more likely to keep the ball by playing short passes out from the back than you are hoofing a ball maybe to the halfway line and contesting for it. I think until Manchester United can play out from the back, that is going to be an issue. But just focusing on playing out from the back in this first segment, is David De Gea the problem there? My opinion is yes, but he's not the whole problem. I think to play out from the back, Manchester United are missing a huge piece of the puzzle, and that piece is a midfielder. People seem to think Casemiro can play the role of maybe the 8 or whatever you want to call it, the role of the player or the midfielder that tucks in, basically says, "Yep, I'll have it," shows for the ball. I don't think that's right. I really don't. If you watch the game versus Barcelona, uh, especially away, one thing you'll see is that Casemiro didn't really get on the ball at all. I think he was all right off of it, and he did his usual tackles, interceptions, all that kind of stuff, but he didn't actually get on the ball barely at all. I think he had not many passes, not many touches, and that's fine. But this is why Manchester United are desperate and they need another midfielder. Somebody who's almost obsessed with the ball, wants it even when they shouldn't. That is what Manchester United are missing. The 0-0 at Southampton or at Old Trafford versus Southampton wasn't a good game, obviously. Casemiro was sent off. But one thing I did see, and although I'm not saying he's the best player for the role, I just thought it was very apparent about what United were lacking. It was actually Lavia. If you go back and watch the game versus Southampton at home, what you'll see is Lavia consistently getting the ball and trying to basically break the lines with a pass, or even just try and dribble through a few of our players and create space for himself. He lost the ball a few times and it looked like maybe he messed up, but he didn't get put off. He carried on, he kept trying it again and again and again. And I think United lacked that, especially versus Newcastle, a midfield of Scott McTominay and Sabitzer. I mean, whatever you think of Sabitzer, I think he's a a good player. I don't think he's a title-winning player. I think he's a good player. Scott McTominay and Sabitzer don't work. It's an awful partnership. I actually almost would argue that Fred and McTominay, although I really don't like that partnership, it's more balanced than Sabitzer McTominay. Because neither Sabitzer or McTominay really want the ball in the tight areas. And Fred, to be fair to him, he does want the ball a lot, even though he's not good on it. I've seen Fred call for a ball, fluff up a 5-yard pass, but at least he's trying, you know. McTominay doesn't want the ball. I actually think McTominay is better on the ball than other players, maybe like Fred, but he just doesn't want it. He will hide. His body language, you know, almost trying to get behind an attacking player. I don't want it. Don't give it to me. You can't have that in the midfield. You need a midfielder who's almost going to, as I said, want the ball when they shouldn't have it, want to try and get themselves out of sticky situations. And that's how you break a press, especially against the really good teams. You bypass the press, you're out. So that's playing out from the back and De Gea. Moving on to replacements for De Gea. You know, a lot of people are saying he's not good enough. Okay, what do we do about that? Dean Henderson, is he an option? For me, Dean Henderson is a average goalkeeper, maybe even a little bit above average. He's not a Manchester United keeper, and whether you think he's better than De Gea or not, I still think, you know, you need to come to the realization that, okay, he might be better than De Gea. I personally don't think he is, to be honest. But for me, he's not Manchester United quality. I think we need to spend the big bucks. I actually think Diogo Costa is the answer. Even though I contest that if it's 50 million for for Diogo Costa or 25 million for David Raya, David Raya this summer is the better option. There's a lot of reports United are going to struggle with FFP, and if it's between maybe getting any keeper or none, I'd rather go for David Raya because I definitely think he's very good. Goals prevented. I'm pretty sure it's the same as XG prevented, but I'm not too sure. I'm pretty sure it is. So goals prevented, David Raya is at plus 3.1, which is alright. Diogo Costa is plus 5.5, which would be considered pretty good, very good, whatever. But the jump, David De Gea, I want you to kind of think what it could be. So keep in mind, David Raya is plus 3.1, Diogo Costa's plus 5.5. What do you think De Gea is? David De Gea is minus 3.8. Now, I was actually almost shocked when I saw that because I always think, you know, De Gea is known for shot stopping. That's what he does. That's his speciality. But when I thought about it, when I thought about David De Gea, I actually think what David De Gea does is he makes the wonder saves. He saved the shots that should not be saved. And that's why people always talk about him. He'll perform this ridiculous double save in a game and people will go, wow, you know, would be a goal down if it wasn't for that. But I think the reality is I'd rather have a goalkeeper that saves the good shots, not the wonder shots, the good shots. And I say that because you're probably going to concede, let's say you concede 15 shots in a game. 3 or 4 of them might be considered good shots. Sometimes you're not even going to get a wonder shot in a game. So if your keeper's only saving that wonder shot, that's actually worse than just saving a few of the good shots because you get more good shots against you. I don't think De Gea is awful at saving the good stops, but I do actually think when I think about David De Gea and his saves, most of them are ones he almost shouldn't be saving. I can't remember if it was Crystal Palace home or away, uh, or if we even played Crystal Palace at home. But when we played Crystal Palace most recently, there was a shot, and from the angle of the TV, it was almost. I actually thought it was a goal. I was, you know, almost looked away from the screen, goal, and David De Gea saved it, and it was a stupid save that he should not, and he had no right to get to. So how is he at a minus 3.8 goals prevented? And I think it's because he doesn't save some of the easier shots. If you go back and watch the Liverpool 7-0, during the game I just kind of wrote it off. Oh, you know, awful game, everyone. But when you actually go back and you look at the errors, David De Gea should have done better on, I think, a few of them. And of course, yeah, it wouldn't have mattered, but that's not the point. The point is that that could have been any game. When it came to crosses claimed, or the percentage of crosses claimed, David Raya is at a very good 9.2%. Diogo Costa at a decent 7.5%. and David De Gea at 2.9%. And I think this is the problem Manchester United fans have at the minute. It's not a case of David De Gea not being the best when it comes to this kind of sweeping modern keeper. It's the fact that he doesn't do it at all. And I think if De Gea maybe was just alright, he wasn't the best, but he was alright. People would just sweep it under the carpet. Okay, yeah, we can improve, but it's not a big deal. I think the fact he's so poor at it is the issue. Because it's not a case of you can almost sweep it under the carpet, because it's actually costing us almost every game in some way, shape, or form. The Barcelona game we won at home, do people forget we could have been behind by, I think we were behind 1-0. It should have been 2. The Gea's pass was so bad, and it's strange because he's not that bad of a footballer. I've seen him ping passes pretty comfortably. I think it's a mental block. He struggles, or he panics, because some of the passes he makes are so bad that no professional footballer, all the way down the pyramid, National League, if a National League goalkeeper hit some of the passes he did, it would be considered awful. I just think it's a mental thing. He doesn't feel comfortable playing out from the back, and I think that's a real problem. Please write any comments about any topics you'd like to be discussed, whether it's maybe what striker we should buy, or what formation we should try in the next game. Should we rotate? For example, I might do a video on why I think Jadon Sancho has to start now. Because he's not been starting, he's got a bit of criticism. I even saw an article on that he's up for sale in the summer. Ten Hag's run out of patience. That's a big problem. I love Sancho. I love the way he plays. Very focused on ball retention. People think he's just not taking the risks. I don't. But that is a topic for another video. So if you have any other kind of points like that, please write them down below, and I'll get to it next time. Thank you.